Greetings, my magnificent ones. Sue Paulson here, your magnificence mentor. Welcome to our Heaven on Earth series. Today's topic is all about compassion. It's been on my mind lately, this whole idea of compassion. Part of it stems from looking at the state of chaos in the world today and what we're surrounded with. Some of it comes from watching people that I care about struggling and going through all kinds of different things in their lives. And this just triggers a well of compassion in me. I think the opposite of compassion is judgment. Now, you know, and I know there's an awful lot of that going on right now, too. So let's just take a moment to focus on where judgment came from. So if we go way back when we're first learning to discover our worlds, when we're little, and we get certain sensations, certain tastes, certain sounds that come into our awareness. And we have, it seems like almost a built-in discernment about whether we like something or not. So I might like the sound of tinkling music, but heavy metal doesn't impress me. I might enjoy the taste of peaches, but blueberries turn me off. So we have these opportunities, I guess, every time something new comes into our awareness, our environment, into our being, to decide how we feel about that, whether it feels right, wrong, good, bad, we like it, we don't like it. Well, of course, there's an element of judgment in that is pretty benign. It's just, well, I love peaches, I dislike blueberries. Nothing wrong with that. And it's just, we don't even know why that is. The trick is, though, at some point when we connect with others and we don't share the same likes and dislikes or things that we feel are better or worse or whatever, then the judgment can creep in. Well, there's something wrong with you that you don't like blueberries. There's something wrong with you that you like peaches. And then we get put in the wrong, essentially, for just something that's a preference for us. So we go from preferences all of a sudden to this judgment about, well, the world isn't good if I'm going in this direction, and it is good if I'm going in this direction. Wow, that sets up a very challenging dynamic for all of us, because then it creates a whole other thing in our psyche that causes us to question. The idea of not measuring up comes from being judged in some way, shape, or form. Well, I wasn't very good at math when I was in school, so I have a weakness there. Well, does that make me a bad person? Well, I don't think it does. It has created some challenges in my life at different times because I couldn't figure something out. But it makes me no worse a person than someone who's brilliant at math. So why the judgment? What's that all about? And of course, I don't know if you were, but I know I was taught to just almost by example, to focus on my deficiencies, to focus on my weaknesses, the areas that were seemingly negative, rather than looking for, well, what am I really good at? What are my talents? What are my strengths? What are my contributions that I could make to the world? I spent so much time trying to figure out how to improve myself that I forgot that there was this whole other dimension of me that could be of benefit, not only to me, but to a whole bunch of other people. So, and that's growth, right? That we go through these different things through our lives, these different experiences, these different opportunities to then come full circle and say, okay, how do I think about that now? So when I think about compassion, it's pretty hard to have enough compassion for others if we don't have enough compassion for ourselves, if we cannot let go of the judgment. Now, the first step in letting go of the judgment, of course, is to realize that we are actually doing it in the first place. And I know I have lots of justifications for why I judge something or someone. And so let's talk about tattoos for a moment. So I'm not fond of tattoos. And I see lots of people who have lots of tattoos, and it it always kind of jars my psyche. And there's a part of me that wants to judge them for all those tattoos. When I dig a little deeper, I realize that part of my reason for disliking tattoos is I'm very squeamish about the idea of needles going into my skin and making permanent marks. And of course, what else weighs in on that is, well, what are people, if I got a tattoo, what would people think of me when I'm 95 and very wrinkled and that tattoo looks like crap? What are they going to think about me then? So I have this thing in my head about, oh, well, what will other people think? Because I grew up with that. So, so it isn't really about other people getting tattoos. Hey, you want to get a tattoo, float your boat, do your thing. I'm good with that. And but there has been a part of me, and still is a little part of me, that just wants to say, no, no, that's wrong. That's bad. People shouldn't do that. And look at the consequences of that. It's none of my business. So, but I notice when I judge that, and I really started paying attention lately to noticing how often I judge. Because when we and why would I do that? Why would I notice how often I judge? So that I can forgive myself for that, so that I can let those judgments go. Well, believe me, it's been a hard challenge at times, because I like to think of myself as fairly compassionate, fairly open and understanding, and I don't feel as if I hang out in judgment that much, and I work diligently to not hang out there. Then when I turn my focus to, okay, how about today, Sue? How many times did you judge someone? What did you judge today? And much to my dismay, I have this list, and I'm going, oh, gee, I thought I was doing better than that. Well, then I'm judging myself for judging. And then you judge yourself for judging yourself for judging. And who wants to go down that rabbit hole? So what's the antidote? Well, the antidote is compassion, and particularly self-compassion. Yes, I know that I do judge. And it was a lifelong practice that got instilled in me from a very, very young age. Society judges all the time. We're judged in so many different ways, and there are so many opportunities for people to judge. It's hard to work your way out of that. But to me, that's not heaven on earth. Because I feel guilty when I judge someone else. I don't want to feel guilty. I feel badly when I have had judgmental thoughts running through my head, when I'm looking at this perfectly magnificent person in front of me and thinking, wow, why would I judge this lovely being who is as magnificent as I am? So noticing the judgment is part of it. And suspending your judgment of yourself for doing that. And of course, the biggest strategy of all in working with judgment is to forgive yourself, to forgive yourself for your perception of that situation, that person behaving the way they did, all of that you can come to terms with that and say, isn't that interesting that that particular thing triggered me again? And I fell into this judgment loop that I'm been diligently working at getting out of, alongside of the forgiveness. So that I think in the Bible it says forgive 70 times, 7 times. And so there's just this ongoing campaign to forgive, 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 forgive. So it can be a daily practice of what I need to forgive myself for today. Well, I need to forgive myself for being sharp with my granddaughters. I need to forgive myself for thinking harshly of someone else. All of these kinds of things that we do that. And if you get into the habit of instantaneously noticing that you were judging and then forgiving yourself for judging, then you think a different thought. So when we switch, especially in relation to other people, but also in relation to ourselves, when we bring in compassion as part of that forgiveness, because I tend to think they go hand in hand, that we say, how can I have compassion for this situation right in this moment? Compassion for myself because something that was going on triggered my judgment. And how can I forgive myself for what I just judged? And of course, in relation to the situation or the person, how can I forgive myself for judging them in this moment? Well, I like to think of sky hooks coming down to grab hold of these great garbage bags of judgment. Okay, pull it up and hook it on, tie it up good, hook it on, and up goes that bag full of judgment, and then tie it up, hook it on, and up goes that bag full of judgment. And because when we give it up, we surrender it to the universe and say, okay, that's gone. The forgiveness has washed away that sense of guilt, that sense of unease, that not so nice feeling that we have inside of ourselves, and been replaced with more peace, some calm, even some joy out of that, or some happiness at having resolved something. Then all of that, those big bags of judgment get transformed into something particularly splendiferous, splendor, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, see, I don't want to judge the words that are coming out of my mouth because sometimes they just don't come out right. So there it is. That's what I wanted to share with you today, was to look at your opportunities in your life, if heaven on earth is in fact your goal. It's certainly my goal. If I want to bring that feeling of joy, peace, infinite and unconditional love into my life, working to move away from judgment and bring in more forgiveness and more compassion is such a key way to do this. And you're magnificent enough to do exactly that. So let me know how you do with that. Initially, it might be a little daunting because you didn't know you were judging quite that often or quite that much. But over time, a new habit gets in place, that compassion gets triggered before anything else. And that's where we want to go. So that's it for today. If you're enjoying the Heaven on Earth series, you may also enjoy having a look at the Magnificence Lab, which is our place to experiment, to walk each other home in all things related to magnificence, creating heaven on earth. Particularly if you're a creator, you have a mission of how you want to help people in the world, then we're looking for curious, like-minded souls who want to be members of the Magnificence Lab. So you could check it all out. Just go to magnificencelab.org. And there you can find our podcasts on there, as well as all of the information about becoming a member or joining us for our monthly workshops, which are coming up again the first Tuesday in September. It's an online 90-minute workshop. Take great care. Enjoy your summer. It's July the 5th here. So people are recovering, I'm sure, from the 4th of July holiday. It's going to be a glorious weekend. Take good care.